It's going to get certified today. I mean, there's a lot of senators who perhaps don't want it to, but it's going to. So why the need or why the desire on the part of these business leaders to send this letter?
Well, it's to ensure that the country understands that we have a process, an electoral process, that business has confidence in. There's, political instability is very bad for business. And we've had, through the COVID-19, this challenge where the financial hardship, the loss of jobs, the uncertainty about what's happening to us has created just a real loss of confidence in the workings of government generally. And that is bad for business. So in order to recover, to get the economy going again, we need presidential leadership. We need confidence in the transfer of power being fair, that we don't do rigged elections in this country. So that's why the reason for the letter, a statement of confidence in our country, in the systems that we have put in place, in following our Constitution, all of those reasons, and hopefully to encourage members of Congress today, all the members of Congress today, on a bipartisan basis to bring our country together and to certify the election of the next president of the United States.
Well, speaking of Congress, Kathy, it appears possible, if not likely, that the Senate will move to Democratic control, or 50-50, and then obviously the deciding vote would be the vice president. You are intimately involved in so many of the debates about the economy in New York, for example, and the metropolitan region, which contributes, some 10 or 11% of GDP to the country. They say they need money. New York State, $17 billion. The MTA, New York City. The numbers go on and on. Does a democratically controlled Senate increase the likelihood of that aid getting to states in need?
Absolutely. The catch on state and local assistance in the last stimulus bill, the objections came from the Republican leadership. So certainly it improves those chances. But on a bipartisan basis, the New York and the 11 states that were most damaged with the loss of state and local deductibility in 2018, those 11 states are responsible for 53% of our national economy. It's New York, it's Massachusetts, it's California, it's Illinois. And Texas, we have been badly damaged by that. And so the double need is both for aid to overcome the costs and consequences of the COVID on our economy and our fiscal situation, but also to make up for some of the losses that we've suffered as a result of in New York, we're sending $14 billion a year more to Washington because of the loss of state and local deductibility on federal income tax payments.
Yeah, Kathy, I want to shift gears a little bit because you also sit on advisory groups that are established by the governor and the mayor to guide the response to COVID-19. In terms of the vaccine rollout that we're seeing in New York, it does seem like there is this big divergence in terms of the numbers that have been distributed to the state versus the numbers of vaccines, of doses that have actually made their way into people's arms. Where is this bottleneck and what's causing it?
Well, the city and state have done a terrific job throughout the COVID and in terms of focusing on the health of our state. And we have done much better than other places, despite having been the epicenter of where this all got started in this country. So I don't want to take away from that. The vaccine rollout problems really start in Washington with the federal administration. They are the only purchaser of these emergency approved vaccines. So everything has to go through Washington. Washington had to create a distribution plan, which didn't exist, partly because the topic we first discussed, we were focused on Washington, was focused on politics rather than how we were going to get this vaccine out. So I don't think that you can blame the state or the city for not having a plan in place or not being as efficient as we had hoped on getting out the vaccine. It starts in D.C., starts with the administration's plans, and that's another reason why we really need to get focused. We need to get that vaccine out. You're absolutely right. It's critical. I'm getting calls from businesses every day who say, how can we help the city and state and the federal government get this moving? So I can't say what the bottleneck is, except for it's a lack of having been prepared for this, just like with much of the pandemic.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.